Hey friendly neighbors, this missing class is all about when friends come to an end, which I used to think was a failure, but now I see it as a sign of growth. Like I had this really good friend back in my 30s and we had all the same goals. I think she liked it more when we were sort of struggling and working towards those goals than when we started achieving them. Because one of our mutual goals was to buy an apartment and another one was to find a boyfriend. And the third one was about our careers. We both wanted to have big careers. When I started achieving my goals, her reaction to me became very different. So I bought my apartment a few months before I met my ex. And that's a classic New York City thing. They say that for single women, once you buy your first apartment, you meet the person you're gonna marry right away. We didn't end up getting married, but we were engaged. So right after I met him, I, of course, wanted to tell her all about him, and we got together at Shake Shack with a mutual friend. So the three of us are sitting at the table, we're waiting for our orders, and this other friend of ours is asking me all kinds of questions and like so supportive and excited. And my good friend is just kind of sitting there and not saying anything. Then they called her name to go get her tray. She could not get away from the table fast enough. She was so desperate to get away from that table that she knocked her chair over. Chair literally on the floor at Shake Shack is how much she could not stand to hear me talk about this person that I just met after so long. Our mutual friend is one of the happiest people I've ever known in my life. She's so lovely, she's so kind and supportive. She was so excited. And then there was a chair on the floor. Two totally opposite reactions from two people in very different relationships with themselves. I think a test of your emotional health is to watch a friend earn some of the things that you've been working towards and seeing how you feel. I think it's typical to feel a little jealous. It's typical to feel a little bad because their success maybe puts a spotlight on what's lacking for you. But if you're a true friend and you're in a good place, then you're happy for them. The happier you are for them, the happier you are with you. This friend was so angry and upset about everything in her life, and she had been that way for years. And when I met her, I was in a place of pain too, so it made sense that we met and became really good friends. I mean, she was so upset with her entire life that if someone asked her a simple question like, "How are you?" or "How's that going?" she would say, "I can't tell you or I'll start crying." She liked when we were both struggling, but when I started checking off the goals that had been on my dream life list for years, and they just happened to be the same goals that were on her list, she was so angry about what was lacking in her life that she lashed out at me. She started getting really mean. She would say horrible things to me. Every time we got together, she would be mean to me. And I allowed that mistreatment because part of me felt like I deserved it for getting the things that she wanted that she still had not gotten, and I felt bad for her. But there's this pattern I realized that I had, not only with my friendships, but also with my ex. Because I realized that when I was in a place of scarcity and victimization, when I didn't believe I deserved to be treated with kindness and respect, I attracted not only the kind of friendships that were a manifestation of my limiting beliefs, but my relationships as well. You can see the first missing class video I did called Who the Girl Becomes. If you want to watch that, you can see where I talk about being treated like garbage growing up and how that manifested in allowing mistreatment as an adult. Back when someone in pain mistreated me, when I was still in pain, when I was still in scarcity and victimization mode, my first reaction isn't what it is now. My first reaction now, if someone comes at me, lashing out at me, and is clearly angry and clearly just the rawest nerve there is, I'm like, bye-bye, because I don't have time for that. And I don't want to be mistreated anymore. I'm in a place of empowerment now. I no longer tolerate mistreatment. But back then, my initial response to someone in pain who mistreated me was, how can I make you feel better? Because all I wanted to do was take their pain away, because I remembered what it was like to be in pain. And I didn't want anyone else to feel that way. So I became a magnet for people with unresolved pain. People who made themselves feel better by making me feel worse. Like, I had this other really good friend for years, and it was that thing where, you know, when you have such a good friend that they know you in a lot of ways better than anyone else, and you're just walking and talking for hours, and you can stay up till 3 a.m, and you still have more to say. That's who he was to me, and I know that's who I was to him, but he was always late. I'd be standing there waiting for him for half an hour. I'm not talking about 5 or 10 minutes late. I'm talking about consistently half an hour late. He'll just roll up with Starbucks or with a book from Barnes & Noble, no apology, oblivious to the fact that he was half an hour late, consistently. I can't tell you how many hours of my life I wasted waiting for this person on street corners, at tables in restaurants, in parks. But I never said anything about it. Actually, eventually I did, like after many, many years, but I let it go on for years because I thought, well, that's just who he is, and we're gonna have so much fun together, and he's such a good friend. So I tolerated that mistreatment. But here's the thing, that friend who is consistently late is showing you that he does not respect your time, and he thinks his time is more valuable than yours. And that's mistreatment. A relationship that comes to an end is not a failure. You know when you've reached the end. You just can feel it when a relationship no longer serves you. It's okay to part ways with someone you no longer feel that bond with, and especially with someone who's mistreating you in any way. Sometimes you grow and evolve and they don't, right? So if you're working on personal improvement, that means things are changing. If you want things to get better, things can't stay the same, things have to change, right? So if things are changing for you because you're doing the work to grow and evolve, but they're not interested in personal improvement, maybe they're not interested in being the best person they can be, but you are, and you are becoming that better person, and they're seeing you do it and they don't like what they see, then they're sort of stuck in their pain and you've outgrown them. If you're working on personal improvement, change is required. That's so important to understand. I didn't understand that for years, and I fought change for years, but change is an inevitable part of growth and evolution. And parting ways with friends that no longer serve you is part of that journey. Adele said something in an interview I saw with her recently when she was talking about her depression and anxiety, and she was going through a really hard time in her life. She said, showing up for yourself means you can show up for your friends. You have to be a good friend to yourself first to be a good friend for others. Just like if you want to be in a healthy relationship, you have to love yourself first before you can love someone else. Being your own best friend means understanding what is best for you. What I'm doing now is different in a lot of ways than what I did in my teens, 20s, and 30s. I'm choosing to be with kind, supportive people because I'm no longer tolerating mistreatment of any kind. So the people I'm interested in being with now are very different people than I was interested in being with in my 20s and even into my 30s. I love positive energy. I love surrounding myself with positive energy. I'm all about the positive energy. And putting out positive energy attracts positive energy back. So if you're generating positive energy, which really doesn't take much effort, even if you're not feeling well, even if you're having a bad day, a kind word to someone, smiling at someone, a random act of kindness, that's all putting out positive energy. And as you're working on yourself and your self-improvement, it will become easier to naturally generate positive energy. And the more positive energy you put out, the more you get back. And that means you're going to be attracting other positive people who are supportive and kind. Oprah only has like 3 good friends. I'm like, if Oprah Winfrey only has 3 good friends, I don't need 40 friends. As I sort of did this exercise I'm going to share with you and evaluated my friendships over the years, I came to realize that I'm good with only a few friends. I'd rather just have kind, supportive people around me than dealing with mean, angry people who are lashing out at me and using me and mistreating me and only contacting me when they need something and not picking up when I call. That's not a friendship. Anything that's one way is not serving you. So this is an exercise that helped me. We know that the 5 people you spend the most time with, including screen time, are the people who have the most influence on you. They influence your thoughts, your words, your actions. Think about those 5 people to you, or maybe it's only 2 people, or maybe it's only 1 person. The people you spend the most time with, the people you're closest to. And ask yourself these 4 questions. How do they make you feel? Do you act differently when you're around them? Do you feel like you're not yourself? Do you leave feeling happy after you see them? Or feeling bad about yourself? Does being with them feel easy or feel like a job you want to quit? When I asked myself those questions, it became clear which friends I needed to part ways with in order for me to live my best life. Creating your dream life means surrounding yourself with the people who help you manifest those goals and make you feel better about yourself and love you and support you and are not bitter and resentful about your success. You teach people how to treat you. If you tolerate mistreatment, you will attract people who love to mistreat others because hurt people hurt people. If you show empowerment from the start, you will build relationships on a foundation of respect. Not everyone is going to be good to you, but you can choose to be good to yourself. And part of being good to yourself is that the more goodness and respect you show yourself, the more goodness and respect other people will show you. So this is all about empowerment, attracting the people that you want to surround yourself with, and really cherishing and maintaining and enjoying the friendships that bring you joy. So here's to empowerment, and I'll see you next time.